All right, everybody. We are doing our post game wrap up. It's your guy, Minister Jonathan Simmons, here on the scene. Um, we're back home now we're back in the studio, I should say, after watching the Falcons knock off the Saints 19-17 final score. Falcons win. Um, uh, I'm not sure quite what to say about this win. It's a situation where the Falcons, yeah, I don't know. It was one of those games where you said to yourself, what was this all about? You look at the end of the season and this team won four straight games. I mistakenly said earlier they won five straight games. And here's an interesting stat that I heard. They said the Falcons, if you include today's win, since in their history, when they are out of playoff contention, the Falcons are a staggering 13-4. So you imagine that basically is a whole season. And many people felt that's what they should have been or close to that this year. But instead, they end up 8-9. And as we knew, typical Falconing, they end up in a three-way tie for first place. Okay. Three-way tie for first. And guess what happens? They're out of the playoffs. Actually, we're out of it 5 weeks ago because this team thought it was really smart to lose not one, but two games to Carolina, who, by the way, are headed to the NFC playoffs, representing the NFC South, or many people think what they call the NFC least. And for the last 3 years, that's really kind of what it's been here with the Falcons. They have had an opportunity to go to the playoffs being around 500. But wait, there's more. They would have been able to host their home game. That's right, guys. We would have been able to go back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium next week to see the Falcons take on a wild card team in the playoffs. But no, we will not see any of that. Instead, we'll be watching the Carolina Panthers. A team that many of us thought would that we were vastly superior to in most phases of the game. I'm just saying. But this is typical of the Falcons. This is what they do to us year in and year out. They find a way mysteriously to lose games that they should lose. I mean, lose games they should win and win games they should lose. And that really, if you look at the Falcons season, the microcosm is it's all wrapped up in these three losses. You lost to a Panther team whose record is the same as yours, under 500, 8-9. You lose to a Jet team who was 3-13. Okay, the Jets were 3-13. You found a way to lose that game. And Miami, I believe, was 5-12. You find a way now they lose that game and get blown out. Win one of those two games, and guess who would be going to the playoffs? And guess who would have their first season over 500 in 7 years? You guessed it, the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, it just amazes me how this team has find interesting and new ways to be mediocre. Now, of course, I, like everybody else, about midway through the season, was shouting, "Hey, fire Raheem Morris, fire the offense coordinator, fire everybody." Well, let's go with that last statement, fire everybody. Okay, so a lot of people are talking about looking to fire Terry Fontenot. Why would you want to fire him? I mean, Terry Fontenot, you can say, hey, maybe he missed on Kyle Pitts. The jury's still out on that because Kyle has had basically bookend years. His first year with the Falcons, pretty darn good. Guy goes to Pro Bowl. What could be his last year this year, pretty darn good, especially the last 4 or 5 games, which 4 of the 5 games have been wins for the Falcons. He actually looked like the guy that we thought we were getting, a tight end that could make key catches for first down and from every now and then get some good yards after the catch. A red zone threat, but a very small sample size. Why would you want to fire Terry Fontenot where he did something that no other Falcons GM had really been able to do successfully except a one-off, a one-year shot with Vic Beasley back in the year before the Super Bowl, where the Falcons brain trust was actually able to draft a defensive game wrecker or a real edge rusher. Surprise, surprise. Not only did they get one, but they got two edge rushers, and both of them in the top five in the NFL for sacks by rookies, and combined for 16 sacks. You listen to me, folks. Anybody would have signed up if you said, "Hey, out of Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr., we're going to get a total of 16 sacks." We'd have been ecstatic. We'd have been, man, we hit the lottery, and we really did. So I don't have any complaints from anybody talking about, oh, the Falcons lost their first round pick. No, they got a stud. They got absolute studs in James Pierce Jr. So that's your first round pick. So I don't care who the Rams pick next year, unless the person they pick turns out to be an all pro. You got a legitimate first round draft pick in James Pierce Jr. that was, worth you giving up, whoever the Rams might get this year. Just saying. The Falcons defense, which, oh, by the way, in the same draft, they got Xavier Watts. The guy's a ball hawk. And just so that you know, the tandem of Watts and Jesse Bates led the league as far as safeties for interceptions this year. Xavier Watts is an absolute ball hawk, which everybody thought he would be. And who knows how good this guy is going to be. A potential. So think about this for a second. You got people talking about getting rid of Terry Fontenot. And Fontenot did exactly what, ironically, Dimitrov did. Thomas Dimitrov did about a decade ago before the Falcons went to Super Bowl, where Arthur Blank was like, "Hey, in this next draft, I need 4 starters." It's amazing how things have come full circle, because that's what the Falcons got. They got starter in James Pierce, excuse me. Yeah, James Pierce Jr. They got a starter in Jalen Walker. They got a starter in Xavier Watts, and they really had pretty much a starter in Billy Bowman. So overnight, Trey Fontenot transformed the Falcons defense from being, oh no, to being a defense that was an absolute threat to make big play after big play. And oh, by the way, he got Bijan Robinson, who many people are saying could be the best player in the NFL. I think that's overrated. I think that's not true. I don't even know if he's the best running back in the NFL. And even though I watch the guy repeatedly, he does some things that are just out of this world. When I look at sheer speed, I look at Jahmyr Gibbs, his speed is just blazing. I don't know if he's necessarily as good as him. Of course, it's hard to say with the Falcons' offensive line, but that's the other thing too. The Falcons they got a pretty good offensive line when everybody's healthy. So again, you got Bijan Robinson. He drafted Drake London, and both those picks. And I was kind of wondering, we both questioned both those picks. We really did. We said, hey, do we really need another running back when we have Tyler Algiers, who just had rushed for 1,000 yards the year before? Is Drake London really the answer for us? Is he going to be a number one receiver? He doesn't necessarily have a lot of speed. He's got a big body. Well, we know the answer to that question. He is a number one. His game is more like a Mike Evans. I don't want to compare him to a future Hall of Famer per se, but it's the same thing. Big body, a guy who's able to make contested catches in a way we haven't seen since Julio Jones. Now, he doesn't have Julio's speed, and he probably doesn't have Julio's overall strength. But nevertheless, this guy continues to make big catch after big catch, and most of his catches are contested. That's another Trey Fontenot pick. Michael Penix, the jury's out. We don't know what we have. In a small sample size, sometimes he's looked great, other times not so great. But at the end of the day, when you think about the fact that Kirk Cousins really was not 100% when he first started playing, and Kirk got hurt, imagine if they had no Michael Penix and they had really no backup. They put in anybody. The Falcons could have been 6-11 these last 2 years. Again, the jury's out, but it seems like Michael Penix Jr. is at least a decent pick, even though it was risky to take him at number 8 overall. Still, at the end of the day, if you had not taken him, I don't know where they'd be. So firing Terry Fontenot is not the answer. Now, Raheem Morris, I'm kind of on the fence. Before I was like, fire the guy, because, he brought his boys in. He brought in, guys they had to turn around and fire because they had virtually no experience at their positions being coordinators. And the coordinator that we have now, offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, many times look like he's over his head. However, if I'm not mistaken, there's another guy on Raheem Morris's staff that has, in fact, the defense coordinator. He hired him as well, didn't he? Just saying. And the defense coordinator for the Falcons has turned this Falcon defense into a defense that is not dominant. Now, granted, the Falcons, second in the league overall in sacks, highest sack total for any Falcons team ever in history, broke the record of the 1997 team. First time you have a Falcons defensive player in double-digit sacks since Vic Beasley, which is all great. So you can't take that away from them. What we have to take away from the Falcons, and we've seen this the last 2 years, is, and this is why a lot of people are looking for Raheem Morris to be fired, because at the end of the day, this defense, the last time the Falcons had those two things I mentioned, over 50 sacks, they had 55 sacks in the 1997 season. The Falcons went to the Super Bowl. They had one of the best records in the league. The last time the Falcons had a guy with double-digit sacks, they went to the Super Bowl. And we're up 28-3 before they collapsed. So that's why I asked the question, was this really a fantastic finish where we saw all these pieces coming together finally as one? Or is it really fool's gold for 2026 where we have to, in fact, blow up the whole team? What do you think? Love to get your opinion here. Pop us here on social media if you like, or I'm going to do something, I don't call it risky, but I'm going to actually open this up so we can't take phone calls. But if you want to join the broadcast, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put the link. I'm going to put the link on social media. I'll pop up on the screen. So if you want to join the broadcast, you can do so. That's right. You can join the broadcast. Just click on the link. I'm going to put it up here for you right now. Hold the wire, boys and girls, please. We're going to do this right now. We're going to go ahead and put this on the docket. So if you want to join the show, here it is. If you want to join the show, click link below. So I'm putting it here right now, guys. That's what we're doing. So bear with me as I do this right now. There we go. So I put this in the column here so you guys can, oh, I can't spell too good. Let's go back here and check this here right here with your comments. If you want to join us, I'll put the link on. You can jump into the broadcast. I will bring you on. You will come into the green room and voila. I'll put this up here for you. Bam! You can join us with your comments. Click the link. Oh, you can't do that. My bad, guys. I'll take care of this. Let me fix it really quick. Let me go ahead and fix this. I'll put this on social media so you can click it, because I just realized when I put it up on the screen like that, you can't click it. So here we go. We're going to click it here. We're going to put you on here. So if you want to be part of the broadcast, you, ma'am, you, sir, can join us. Here we go. I'll pop it right up here on the screen. Here we go. And it's coming, and bam. So if you want to join the broadcast, I can bring you in. You can have some fun with me here in the studio. Just click the link. You'll see it here. It's popped up here on all of our social media platforms. Go ahead and post that link right in there, boys and girls, and you can go ahead and be a part of the Real Talk Sports Show. Love to have your opinion. What do you think about the Falcons? Is it a fantastic finish? We should be excited and hopeful, or is it just fool's gold for 2026? That this Falcons team is not as good as we think. They need a massive overhaul. What do you think? Let me know. So some stats to throw out here for you. Number one, Falcons, now including this win, 13-4 record when they are mathematically out of contention for the playoffs. So what that's telling you is this is not just a Raheem Morris thing or this particular regime or Arthur Smith before him. This Falcons team, for some reason, they just don't seem to have a clutch gene. And as much as I'm excited, like any Falcons fan, to see finally we have a pass rush that can get quarterbacks on the ground, second in the league only to Denver. Interestingly enough, Denver's in the playoffs. Okay, and they have one of the best records in the AFC. All right, as I mentioned, the Falcons team in 1997, they broke the record. Well, that Falcons team, I said that year, but actually it's the next year they went to the Super Bowl. So maybe that's the case. I misspoke earlier. I said that team went to Super Bowl. Please forgive me. The very next year they went to Super Bowl. So hopefully this is a harbinger of things to come. Hopefully this team can do it. I listened to some comments by Drake London. He did not take the bait. Our good buddy Zach Klein here from one of our affiliate news stations talked to him about what he felt this team's potential was, and did he want to stay here and be on the team. And of course, very wisely, Drake London said, "Hey, man, this is all a narrative. You guys on the outside." He said the locker room is strong. He says no desire to leave here. He said the Falcons fans accepted him warmly, and he wants to give the Falcons a playoff contender. But the bottom line is, what do you think? Do you think this Falcons team, as constructed now, what we saw here with this coaching staff, the way they kind of put things together the last 4 games, uh, James Pierce Jr., first 8 games of the season, I believe it was, the first 9 games, 8 games of the season, guy had a half a sack. He had 10 sacks in the last 9 games. Now, we can say what we want about this guy being a raw talent, but somebody had to coach him. And as much as I was infuriated by many of the things that Raheem Morris did as far as his decision making in game, the inability oftentimes for the Falcons to be able to throw a counter punch after another team kind of corrected. It's like our coaching staff had huge problems responding to a correction. This Falcons team was one of the best teams I've seen all year long if they were only playing one half. Either the Falcons will give you a great first half, and usually that's what happens. They give you a great first half and they fall off the cliff in the second half, which is why they not in the playoffs. When the Panthers came here, Falcons were up. I was at this game. The Falcons were up 21-7, rolling in the first half. They give up a late, to me, momentum-changing field goal, and then after that, the Falcons had no answer offensively in the second half against the Panthers, a team that had an 85-yard drive and I believe a 90-yard drive in that first half. The offense just fell apart. And then, of course, later Michael Penix got injured, and that to me was pretty much the end of the Falcons season. Again, if you want to join us with your comments, you tell me what you think. Is this, a real deal? This fantastic finish. We can look for big things for the Falcons in 2026 as constructed. Or do you think maybe it's just fool's gold? We're watching a team that needs to be totally deconstructed. I don't know. Anyway, listen, leave your comments on social media if you would like. I'm signing off. If you're asking me what my opinion is, I still don't have one yet. Believe it or not, I'm still thinking about this because at the end of the day, some of these things were out of the coaching staff's control. The pre-start penalties, coaches not on the field. Yes, we can drill teams, we can drill, practice, and rehearse, but they had a second team lineman that basically led the league in pre-snap penalties, false starts. And many of those were costly in terms of stopping drives or in terms of putting the Falcons behind the chains in a way where they could not, complete drives to get a score where they were kind of rolling. Or big plays and they gave first downs. Just saying. There were drop passes early in the season by Falcons wide receivers. Coaches can't really do anything about that. Missed blocks on plays that if a block had been made, could have been big games. Coaches can't really do anything about that. Overly loyal to some degree, possibly, especially the Younghoe Koo. And it's easy for us now, after the fact, to throw stones at this guy and say, get him out of here. But remember, the previous 3 years, he really had been the Falcons MVP. He had been the lone consistent point of hitting kicks. Now, what happened to him? I think there was an injury, very much like Kirk Cousins, where he might not have been forthcoming, and the team might have been looking at him through rose-colored glasses, just thinking, hey, he's okay, he'll get it fixed. But whatever happened to him in that injury, and we don't know how it happened, but he didn't seem to never be the same after that, whether he was kicking with the injury and it threw off his kicking routine and his approach to the ball, I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, Younghoe Koo, after the injury, was never the same guy. And oh, by the way, yep, you could say they might have made a bad decision on keeping Kirk Cousins in too long after he was clearly injured. But there was disconnect between the player and the coaching staff. I think the coaches said, hey, this guy played injured before. He's a gamer, all those things. Kirk himself said, hey, you know what? I didn't want to tap out. Now, people can say, oh, yeah, it's because he knew Michael Penix was right behind him. I thought about that, but at the end of the day, I know Kirk's a competitor, but let's just say Michael Penix replaced him. It's not like the Falcons could cut him and he lose. Guy was making a ton of money. His wife is from Georgia. He's in the hometown, the family thing. He's all set up maybe to get involved in TV afterwards. He's home with the family. So, I mean, some of it could be that. I'm not sure. All I know is that if we really look at it, this coaching staff is some of the crazy decisions they made, as skippy they were, before the Kirk Cousins injury, the Falcons were 6-3 and had a 3-game lead in the NFC South, and everybody thinking they're going to cruise to the playoffs. Ever since that point, the wheels have fallen off the wagon. And some of it not the fault of the coaches. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. And if you're going to blame Raheem Morris for hiring Zach Robinson, are you not going to give him credit for bringing in Jeff Ulbrich? Because Jeff Ulbrich has turned this Falcons defense from being terrible to being above average and really amongst the league leaders in several categories. I still think, though, that as good as the defense played as far as putting up, like I said, the sacks, the interceptions, in some cases the turnovers, a lot of times this defense, now sometimes it was just fatigue, but there were times that this defense did not come up with these big plays when they were needed. They got sacks in the first half. They would get sacks on first or second down, but when they really need to get a sack to get the other team off the field, this defense didn't do it. No disrespect to all the things they've done, but the real analysis is that Carolina game, for example, the game they really could not lose, they had 5 sacks, but Bryce Young threw for 450 yards. It was all-time high. And especially in the second half, in that third and fourth quarter, they could not make the plays they needed to make, especially down the stretch. Because in essence, there were more than one game where the Falcons offense got a score with less than 5 minutes to go that apparently would have been the game-winning score, and the defense let up a drive by the other team for them to tie the game or win the game. That's kind of so now, is Jeff Ulbrich a bad guy? Nobody's lambasting him. I'm just saying. Well, guys, like I said, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thanks so much for joining us here. We appreciate you so much. I just want to kind of throw my hat in the ring and a few little comments. Please follow us on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. Also, if you could please subscribe. Please do that for us here on YouTube. And you guys have done a phenomenal job. We have been moving very rapidly up the food chain. We're trying to get to that next number. That's a big number for us. Next number, 3,000 views, 3,000 subscribers. We're just under 2,100 now. You guys seem to really enjoy my pre-game and mid-game and post-games. But so, like I said again, please subscribe to us on YouTube as we make our way slowly but surely to 3,000 subscribers. All right, guys, to the next time that we get back together again, we do it. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And remember, if you need a vehicle, check out our title sponsor at Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. Take care and God bless.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years. offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.